here because I think that the coalition that is represented in today's march and rally, and not just today, but ongoing in Canada, First Nations, labor unions, working people, students. This is the kind of coalition that will make the difference.
Politicians, celebrities, and well-known activists have joined more than 100 groups here in Toronto at Queen's Park at the March for Jobs, Justice, and the Climate. Why should the fight for a sustainable future matter to Canadians?
Because the entire world is engaged in what amounts to a struggle for survival in dealing with climate change. And if we can move energy to a sustainable economy focused on solar and on wind and on jobs and all of the public sector activity, we can ultimately move this country away from its obsession with fossil fuels, which is the obsession of this government.
Legendary Hollywood actress and longtime activist Jane Fonda was one of many high-profile public figures that helped bring attention to the cause.
I live across the border in the United States, and what happens in Canada affects us, just like what happens in our country affects Canada. This is a global issue. Tar sands oil, fracking, tankers taking very dangerous gas from the tar sands or from the Arctic down the British Columbia coast down to North America to the United States. It affects all of us.
The fossil fuel industry has known since 2000 that climate change is real, and burning fossil fuels is a driver of human-induced climate change. And yet, in the name of profit, they're going to sacrifice the very atmosphere that supports us. This is crazy.
An estimated 10,000 people came together to raise their voices, including students, migrants, nonprofit organizations, religious groups, national labor unions, environmental organizations, and First Nations groups.
We need attention to the environment, the economy, and social justice. You can't divide them, they all go together.
We have a climate crisis that is everywhere in our communities. And so this is really about connecting the dots, connecting different movements, actually saying that together, people have the power to make real change.
The opportunities that come from this crisis are that there are whole new areas of jobs and industries that could be created if we had a government that simply said, we've got to do something about this.
The rally and march were organized to coincide with the Climate Summit of the Americas and the Pan American Economic Summit being held in Toronto that will bring together policymakers from across the Western Hemisphere ahead of the Pan Am Games.
There's 4 or 5 places in the world that have enough carbon under their soil to completely unbalance the world's climate. Canada's one of them.
Our governments are nowhere near where they need to be. Their pledges, their emission reduction pledges, are not in line with what scientists are telling us. If we take the science seriously, we need to be cutting our emissions by about 8% a year. That's not going to happen out of what we're hearing at those official summits. So what's happening in the streets is we're pushing, but we're also leading. We're leading with our solutions.
It's been amazing to watch people stand up in the States to the Keystone Pipeline, but in the west of Canada to Northern Gateway, and now in Ontario and Quebec to Energy East.
We need leadership because decisions made now or not made now not going to affect old farts like me. You know, I'm at the end of my life, but will reverberate through the lives of young people. The consequences of our failure to act now are going to be felt by future generations.
Everyone on hand today says the fight for a sustainable future in Canada will continue. Reporting from Toronto, Ontario, I'm Heather Seaman.